PastRadio.
I never expected to die old in my sleep. In my line of work, you kinda expect to go out with a bang. The only questions are when, where, how, and who. The why is really just a detail for the cops. That is, if they even find what's left of you and care enough to dig. Well, looked like this was it for me. End of the line. House wins. Better luck next time. But it wasn't a bullet to the head or a knife in the gut that was gonna finish me. No, I was gonna fight rats for scraps or starve. The past few weeks hadn't been slow. They'd been dead enough to stink, like a guy rotting with concrete shoes. My business only existed on paper now. I needed cash, and I needed it yesterday. The rain had been steady music for days, tapping against the window like a debt collector who never sleeps. My office smelled of smoke, sweat, and stale whiskey. I had no clients, no calls. My secretary had walked out weeks ago. I poured the last drops of whiskey into a glass. 2 sips. The empty bottle went into the filing cabinet. Case closed. I pulled open a drawer, down to one last card. Couldn't even afford the cheap ones, no. A crease ran all the way through. That card was all that was left of my business. I stared at it, wondering if anyone would call. The rain outside hammered like it wanted in. Enter the lady in distress. The door didn't creak, it just opened, and there she was. Gloves of midnight, hat pulled low so the rain couldn't touch her face. Expensive perfume slicing through the smoke. She didn't belong in a place like mine. That was part of the act. Her voice was soft, but it carried. Said her brother wanted to meet her at a hotel down by the tracks. Said she couldn't be seen in a place like that. Reputation and appearances. The kind of words people use when they're hiding something. She asked me to go instead. I watched the rain slide down the window, listened to it stubbornly trying to cleanse the city outside. Good luck with that. I felt dizzy. Couldn't tell if it was the whiskey in my veins or the heavy perfume still lingering in the air long after she glided out. Every beat a warning, but I'd been broke too long to listen. Across the street, I spotted a trench coat under a lamppost, just outside a circle of light. He wasn't moving, wasn't restless, just standing there, like he was waiting for someone, but had given up on their arrival. The rain poured down his shoulders, dripping off the brim of his hat, patient and merciless. Eventually, the rain would wash him away, too. The onslaught of rain was reducing the city to a river cutting through a petrified forest. I caught myself daydreaming, trading the office for a boat, drifting along flooded streets, letting the river carry me wherever it pleased. At least then, I wouldn't have to pretend I still had a business. The rain was icy, crawling down my collar, drumming a beat for me to march on. The hotel crouched in the storm, neon letters buzzing like angry insects. Couldn't tell if the place was still in business. Couldn't really tell if I was. The doorway sagged, paint peeling, inviting like a crypt. I stopped under the awning, lit a cigarette, let the smoke curl into the storm. Ye who enter here. For a moment I thought about turning back, but I needed this job. and the rain was shoving me inside anyway. Inside, the hallway put me in mind of a haunted house, wallpaper peeling like old scabs. I even detected the presence of spirits, mostly cheap gin. The only guests I ran into were a family of cockroaches, scuttling like they had better places to be. Chances are they probably did. I found the room and knocked. There was no answer. Tried the latch, it opened. Inside, the bulb sputtered, coughing light across a body sprawled on the floor. Freshly shot, blood seeping into the carpet. Faint gun smoke still lingered in the air, sharp, disruptive, and a hint of something out of place, flowery. Sitting in the blood, I noticed my last card. Soaked red, crease still visible. No meeting. I'd walked into a frame, and the city had already carved my name into stone. Sirens wailed with a vengeance. They were coming for me. Heavy boots pounded up the stairs, closing every second. And I could already picture the cuffs snapping shut. Oh, she'd set me up clean. Instinct took over. I didn't think, I just moved. The fire escape was slick, icy rain biting into my hands as I grabbed the rail. I couldn't take any chances, couldn't clear my name from a cell or a coffin. I cut across rooftops and slipped through alleys, puddles splashing under my shoes. It took a good while for the rain to drown out the last of the commotion. By the time the sky started to shed the night, I was well clear of pursuit. But now I had to find a way to clear my name. The storm had eased, but the streets still breathed rain and smoke. I wasn't running anymore. I was listening to the city, to the whispers in its shadows. At a corner bar, a bartender with a long memory wired directly into his palm let something slip when I gave him the dead man's description and a tip to jog that memory. He'd seen the guy with a real fox on his arm, classy, wearing perfume that cost more than his suit, completely out of his league. The kind of woman who walks into a room and makes the wallpaper blush. Why did that sound so familiar? They were close, but not like any brother and sister I knew. I tracked her scent through the city's gutters and velvet corners. Found she was soon to marry a rich old man, money old enough to have its own mausoleum. She'd climbed high, fast and quiet. But the higher you climb, the more dirty secrets you leave behind. At a dive joint, a girl who'd worked shifts with her had more to say. Said she used to work the night trade. Before the singing, before the serving, she was selling more than drinks. The kind of company that doesn't come with receipts. And she had a shadow, a mouthy deadbeat who'd recently bragged about a job that would make him rich soon. One so clean no one knew it was no accident. She thought it just tall talk from a drunk wannabe tough guy. Truly a match made in heaven, the beauty and the beast, both of them up to no good. In my experience, people of that ilk don't stay partners for long. Not when the cash is on the table. Easy enough to picture them turning on each other. Every angel's got dirt under the nails. Her shine wasn't born in perfume and silk. No, it came from a seedy bar that stank of gin and sweat. Men remembered her, not so much for the drinks, but for the company she sold between shadows. And the stiff wasn't her brother. He had been her partner in every sense that mattered. Only now he was dead. Now everything snapped into place. She wanted to marry into old money. Her friend knew her dirty secret, wanted a cut for his silence. She made his silence permanent and pinned it all on me. Time to call on the lady, time to call her out. I found her in a quiet room, shining like money. She looked surprised to see me. Of course, I should have been booked or dead by now. She blinked away her surprise in a heartbeat, and the haughty mask was back, irritated like I was a bill collector she'd forgotten to dodge. I laid out what I'd dug up, the sleazy past she'd buried under silk and perfume. The stiff at the hotel, lover, not brother. He blackmailed her. She paid him in bullets instead. Wanted to send me to the chair for it. Next, I was going to let the old man know what kind of heat his bride carried. Just wanted to give her the good news first. She had earned that much. For a moment she froze. Then she laughed. A sharp, cruel laugh that made the walls feel smaller. Said I was such a washed-up joke of a small-time PI chasing absurd fairy tales. Said I didn't know a damn thing about her or the man lying dead in that hotel. Told me she used to sing at the nightclub. That part was true. But her husband-to-be knew. He had met her there, introduced by the man from the hotel. Her brother, she'd called him in my office. Her manager, she called him now. She delivered it all like she was correcting a child, laughing into my face as she did. My stomach knotted. The door creaked open. A trench coat stepped in, bleeding raindrops. Took me a moment to recognize him. The guy I had seen waiting across the street from my office. Eyes burning with cold fury, jaw clenched tight. She recoiled as if slapped. It was the old man she wanted to marry. He didn't look surprised to see her or me. He'd followed both of us through the storm. He'd listened in on us and filled in the missing pieces. Wedding was coming up. He was shopping for gifts for her when chance struck, cruel as a blackjack. He'd seen her with the dead guy, much too close, much too friendly. Suspicious, he trailed her, thinking she was stepping out on him already. And now he'd heard the dirt I had found, the cracks in her story, the ugly truth hiding between her smiles. What I didn't know was that his wife had died not long ago. Terrible accident. A tragedy that had left him lonely, grieving. Easy prey for a beautiful young woman. But there was no accident. And she hadn't just comforted him after his loss. She'd actually engineered it. And now the whole rotten truth came crashing down, cold as the rain outside. The city was still dripping, but the storm had finally broken. Sirens carried her away, and with her the lies that had pinned me to the murder. The cops saw the truth. The corpse wasn't mine, the bullet wasn't mine, and the card in the blood was just another trick. The bartender's whispers, the trail of her shady past, the old man's testimony, it all stacked up clean. I was in the clear. She was the one headed for the chair now. The city didn't miss a beat, but for once it listened. The old man stayed behind when the cops hauled her off. He didn't bother looking at her. Didn't look at me either. Just pressed a couple bills into my hand, eyes flat as stone. No gratitude, hush money. A warning wrapped in paper. Keep quiet or end up quiet forever. Easy choice. Enough to keep the lights on for a few more days anyway. I walked home through streets still slick with rain, puddles reflecting every decision you ever made. After the urgent bills were paid, there was just enough left to buy a bottle of whiskey. A cheap one, but enough kick to sand down the memory of that perfumed angel of death. Beyond the horizon, tomorrow's light started its painful crawl, slipping past dark clouds to square off against the wall of rain. the promise of another day in paradise. If you've enjoyed tonight's PastRadio broadcast, do leave us a comment. We always value a good word from the audience. And if you'd care to like the program and subscribe to the channel, it helps ensure you'll never miss the next story warming up on the horizon.
Tune in for the next episode at PastRadio.